Steven sees a figure crawling in the night. Liza's eyes adjust in the pale moonlight. Jake's camera is rolling steady.
Welcome back, Pinheads. Tonight we're going to be covering a movie that I happened to watch recently. I've seen it before. I think Steve's seen it before too, but I decided that I want to talk about it. I think this is a really cool movie. We've got Peter Markham back here with us. He was on an episode recently where we were talking about werewolves. He's the werewolf guy.
Good to see you, Peter.
He looks a little.
Steve.
He looks a little more shaven. He was a lot more wild looking. I guess maybe
Yep.
he hasn't turned yet today. But anyway, point is, the movie we're covering is Dark Was the Night, and this was a really cool movie. So to kind of give you a really quick synopsis of this, and then we'll kind of jump into some of the things going on there. It's pretty much a movie where we have an atheist cop, this small town, one of those really small towns where pretty much all of the work there is like logging, pretty much. Basically, everybody there drinks at the same bar. They all shop at the same little store. It only has two cops in the town. One of the cops is played by Kevin Durand, who I'm going to get to him a little bit more later, but you'll know him as the guy who plays the perfect asshole in like every movie. But this one is different, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But so basically, he is an atheist. He had a terrible event happen with one of his children, and he pretty much has stopped believing in anything. So in this town, when they start seeing strange footprints and weird things moving in the shadows, even a horse disappearing, he is just not willing to admit that it could possibly be monsters because there's no monsters. And as he says in the movie, there is no God.
No God.
So that kind of puts us where his mindset is at. And the fact that he's just not trying to believe in anything. He's just trying to get through what he's going through. So him and his wife are having troubles. He still has a young son. And they're dealing with their stuff while this is all going on in the town. And pretty much the movie boils down to him and his deputy, who's originally from New York City, kind of dealing with this whole tragedy, but kind of situation that's happening in the town. And eventually we do find out that it is some really cool looking monsters. Spoiler, sorry, it's a little late, but cool looking monsters. So we'll kind of discuss the end a little bit more later. I'm sure you guys have opinions on it, but as of right now, that's where we're at. That's kind of the synopsis of the movie. So as I said, Kevin Durand is in this one, as well as Lucas Haas. You would know both of these guys. They've been in a lot of things, and I'll show pictures of them and kind of what they've been in. But Kevin Durand was in Legion. He was in recently, which I really want to see and haven't yet, Clown in a Cornfield. He was in Walking Tall, Wild Hogs, Smoking Aces. The guy's been in a bunch of movies. Kind of a big actor, but he's one of those ones that you don't really see all the time. Or you see him all the time, but you don't really know who he is, I guess is what I'm trying to say. One of my favorite roles for him was 3:10 to Yuma. But as I said, all these movies, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I always knew this guy as being so good at being an asshole.
Screw you both.
Yes.
Like, he is such a prick in every movie he's in.
He's got that face too. I've been
Oh,
told
most
I've got that
definitely.
face as well, or I just look pissed all the time, or not happy.
Douche face.
So-
It's douche face.
I wouldn't go that far.
I have a
but,
resting bitch face.
Well, Kevin Durant kind of. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, and this is what I wanted to kind of say about him, is this movie really made me feel differently about him.
oh, sure, it showed a side of humanity, that he hadn't necessarily put out there in film prior to that, at least in anything that I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, it was the first time where he took the center stage.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen him as a lead role character either, so it doesn't mean he hasn't done it. I just haven't seen him.
Well, that's it. And in this movie, you see him as being a caring and loving father.
Someone's in the backyard.
Anyone out there?
You see him as being, trying to be sensitive to his wife, even though he's going through his own things. I mean, he's a peaceful guy. I mean, there's even one scene where, he goes outside to check to see what there's a, you know, that his kid sees a monster in the backyard and he goes out to check it out, and kid's like, hey, bring your gun. He doesn't even feel it's necessary to carry a gun, you know, most of the time, because he's got that small town sheriff mentality, you know, Andy Griffith kind of thing going on, until it's not anymore.
Well, until the next day.
Yeah, well, and then he finds a reason to carry it around. So he is the main actor in this, and kind of the secondary one is Lucas Haas. He's been in quite a few things, including while she was out, The Witness, bunch of things you might have seen him in. And he was what did you say earlier he was in? That you he was in Mars Attacks. He was the older brother in Mars Attacks. And I think that's where I recognized him from in this as well. The movie is directed by Jack Heller, and it was made in 2014.
It was also released in Britain as The Monster Hunter for the title.
Well, I don't know if you guys are ready for this or not, but I did want to drop something really interesting on you. As always, I kind of look up these movies that we watch to I like to see sort of some facts and interesting things here. Did you guys know, in any of your background check on this movie, that this movie is loosely based on actual events?
No, that I did not know.
Okay, so this is really interesting. So back in 1885, in this in Topsham, the town of Topsham in the UK, everybody woke up one morning and there's actually like hoof-like prints through the entire town that seemed to stop at everybody's window. A lot like this movie. They never found what it was. A lot of people believe that it was the devil. And a lot of people just think it was some kind of animal, but same kind of situation. And that really inspired a lot of the story. That particular story, they kind of referred to it as the devil's footprints, if you ever look it up, but it's in the town of Topsham in the UK.
Let me ask you this. Did they ever state where this was actually taking place, at least in the movie? Some Midwestern type of town? Because when I first watched it, I was like, is something wrong with my TV screen? It was almost like a sepia or like a grayscale, they
did an artistic thing, Steve. Like, you saw different colorations where they toned down a lot of things, and it was always usually when he was like investigating, or there was the monster had killed somebody. And I mean, they did that a lot as an artistic form for the movie. I noticed there's like even a yellow scene and a semi-green scene.
Well, I mean, you're kind of playing that off like it's something silly, but I mean, a lot of directors use these kinds of things to set a mood, which I think they did.
Right.
My understanding is that you weren't very impressed by that, though, Steve.
Well, it was okay. I mean, to me, I've seen it in two different applications, not exactly like this, but I've seen old movies that they would kind of tint the film to project an evening or a night shot when they were in broad daylight, and you could see the real defined shadows in movies like that. And I don't think, obviously, that was the intention here, but I wondered if they were trying to give that kind of West Coast type of like a Seattle look, where it's just gloomy and kind of cold looking outside, not from a temperature standpoint, but just from like kind of just a dull drab. I saw that, unfortunately, in Twilight when my girls were watching all that crap. That same type of thing. It just looked like...
Don't ruin this by bringing that into it, man.
Well, I don't know. I felt it was more like a Montana or Dakotas, like one of those areas where there's a lot of mountains and woods, and then you have the deforestation and everything in the southern parts of the states as you get more towards the Midwest area. I don't know. That's the vibe I got.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and shit on both of your theories and let you know that in the synopsis that I read, it's based on a town located somewhere up north. And that kind of fits my vibe, because when I was watching it, I was thinking more like New Hampshire or Vermont, kind of small town. That's what I was getting out of it.
Right.
So
correct.
I really felt that sort of vibe.
Well, It's filmed in upstate New York.
Yeah, well, upstate New York, I mean, that's got the same sort of vibe, that whole area. I mean, I grew up in New England, and, it's kind of similar up there. A lot of trees, mountains, hills, things like that and such. So I'm going to go ahead and say somewhere like Vermont, New Hampshire-ish. But
I was going to guess like Washington State.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But
That's totally the other side of the country.
yes, that would be. You're correct.
Well, I'm taking mid country. Jake's taking east, and
Well,
and Steve's taking west.
Well, the interesting thing about what I'm taking is that I'm right.
Correct.
So, there's that. But
Doesn't
anyway,
surprise me.
so I know that I felt differently about this movie than maybe you guys did, or I think maybe Peter and I are a little more on the same page as this one. So, let's build our way up to the end here, Steve. What did you feel about this movie? Because I know you kind of had mixed feelings, so I'm curious as to where you were at.
I did. When I watch a movie like this, I don't think anybody would argue that it's a low budget film. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think the CGI was pretty bad. Granted, it is several years old, but even in broad daylight and with a flashlight directly on the creature, you damn near could barely make out what the heck it even was. So
I think that was on purpose, though, Steve. Like, honestly, the impression I got was they were trying to hide that monster for the most part until the very last end of the movie, where he actually fights it in the church. I think that was the point. I think that's what they were aiming for, though, was you're getting all this grainy, Bigfoot-esque style, filming of it, to make it so you only see a claw here, or really give it that vanishing look.
No, for sure, and I understand the idea of giving breadcrumbs throughout the movie and not showing the thing off. But even when it was dead on the church floor with the lights on and two flashlights with the guys staring over him, I still couldn't make out what the hell I was looking at. It just, beggars can't be choosers, but it was one of those things where that definitely spoke towards the lack of money involved in the film. But at the same time, I will state that virtually everybody in the movie, from an actress standpoint, I thought they did a relatively good job. Especially Kevin Durand with his flexing his muscles, a little bit differently than maybe what he normally does, in showing the human side of him and the sorrow that he's going through. And you could kind of see the pain and anguish in everything that he did. I thought he did a great job with that. So, I'm kind of a nitpicky type of person. I like to, and Jake knows this about me too. I look for like realism and different things like that, or how one plot of the story kind of acts in juxtaposition to another, and maybe either corroborates something or completely washes it out, and it doesn't really have a whole lot of merit to stand on. But for the film itself, I felt they did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
For me, when it came to the actual beast, my only problem was when Kevin's looking it up, it's a Wendigo with an A at the end and not a Wendigo. But even way, it's like it looked more like a Jersey Devil or a that thing in down in Mexico, the
Chupacabra.
I can't think. Chupacabra, thank you. So I don't know what they were aiming for with the monster in particular. Like I think they were aiming for more like a Wendigo style, or they called it a Wendigo in the movie. But I'm like, that was the only thing for me, is that like it looked more like something that's not necessarily what they were perceiving for. That was the only problem I had with the monster.
Well, I think that if you put yourself in their situation, though, first of all, for the longest time, he didn't actually see it. So he's kind of looking at what it could be. And I think that, sure, Wendigo would probably be a fair assessment of what it could be based on what he had seen and thought. But also you got to think, and I think when you put yourself in their mindset, it's like, how do you deal with something like that in the first place? Like you can't really, if say it is an unknown creature, you really can't like name that on the spot, especially when you haven't seen it. You're trying to figure out what this thing is. So there's going to be a lot of confusion in that way. So I think that makes sense.
I think one of the bigger reveals when they realized that there truly is something going on, and it was one of the kind of highlights in the movie as far as the peaks to where you're like, oh man, was when they get out into the street and you've got like those black, like tar type of footprints that went through down the whole street. And I wonder, what was he doing, running around in hot top or black mud or something? I mean, that was like a lot.
I think that was supposed to be dirt and mud, and that was actually when Jake and I first discussed this movie, and he asked me to come on to this. Like, that was one of my problems. Was I think they were trying to make this path continue, where in reality, even if it ran through tar, like it should have worn out after a while, and the track should have disappeared.
Right.
Down that road.
At that point, it almost felt to me like maybe this was something from hell, like a some sort of a demon spawn or something that was tracking like tar or
Right.
like that dark blood type of look. But obviously, that wasn't the case. The fact that they kept showing the three-pronged cloven hoof print
Yep.
in so many different areas, and then when they give that reveal in kind of like a section view of the creature from about like hips down, it didn't look to me like what the foot would have looked like. It had the claws and everything else.
If you remember, when it breaks into his house right before they go to the church, you see it going up the stairs with its cloven hooves, and then outside the bathroom door, you see that it opened its foot into the claws. So it kind of retracts the claws, so it's not actually cloven. Those claws retract in, and it walks on top of them. And so that scene gives it away right there when he breaks in the house. When it breaks into his house, the sheriff's, it goes up the stairs with the toes retracted, and then right outside the bathroom, you get just the foot view, and you see those claws out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Steve, it's in the details, buddy. What I wanted to get at was when you were said even after he fought the thing and it was on the floor in the church and everything. I got to be honest with you, man. Most of the time when I see monster movies, I am like disappointed when I see the monster. Like, I'm just like, oh man, this whole movie's for that thing. Like, that thing sucks. And, unless you have one of those just killer, like the xenomorphs, for example, or something, like usually the monsters kind of suck. And I'm not going to lie. First of all, I did really enjoy the fact, like Peter said, that I really like the fact that they didn't give us the monster till the end. And when they did give us the monster and we didn't get the best view of it, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of okay with that, as weird as it sounds, because I didn't really want to see too much detail or have it ruined. Or, I mean, what's better, what they did or seeing, details that turn us off?
Well, here's something interesting. I looked up, sorry to type in, Jake, but I just looked in IMDb, and this movie won 2 awards. It won the 2014 Festival Trophy for Best Special Effects, and it won 2014 winner for Best Visual Effects.
Is that a Kids' Choice Award? Because I don't know how the hell that happened.
Well, he didn't say it was Nickelodeon.
Screamfest.
Screamfest. There you go.
Yeah, and that would be my gripe. I have no problem with the fact that they were showing bits and pieces of the creature and not. I was talking about the clarity with which you saw it when you did see it. It just felt very B minus, D minus type of like CGI. Just and obviously you can't hang that on the whole movie and say the movie was bad because of that, but there were other things that made me kind of when you're talking about plot, for example. Originally, we thought it was one creature, right? Or at least I guess the consensus was it was one thing. This thing had to be hauling ever-loving ass all over the place. Both lateral movement, front and back, up and down into the trees, possibly being able to fly, with getting some of the remnants of people hung up in the trees and crap like that. And so you're kind of like, well, what creature could move that quickly and clear out all of the animals, either kill the animals or kill the people, or just draw them out or drive them out. It just felt like it screamed like there was more than one to begin with, to me at least. So that it wasn't a shock at the end that there was a bunch of them, to me.
It wasn't a shock, but I still think it was interesting and fun that they didn't allude to that beforehand.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah, they kept it that, like, I know, I see what you're saying, Steve, that, yeah, definitely, when you watch the movie and you see this, you got to assume, like, this thing's either, like, lightning speed fast or there's more than one. But in the same fact, you don't think it's a damn herd, though. I mean, when at the end, after he kills it, and then the deputy goes, but I shot it right in the shoulder. They look back down, and the shoulder's intact, and they look at each other like, okay. And then they leave the church, and all of a sudden you see this church being crowded and covered in these things. You don't assume there's a whole herd of them, though. That was what was like. And then I love. By the way, I love non-happy endings. That's my thing. Like I like realistic
I
endings.
love it when people are miserable. I love to see everybody die.
I don't like to see everybody die, but I like to see something that's realistic, where not everything's a happy ending, like a Disney fairy tale.
You don't see them all die; you just know they all died.
Well, that's the great thing, is they left it assumption, because you
sleeps better at night knowing that, Steve. He's on his pillow like they're all dead. That's wrong.
But you don't know, because the sun was coming up. You saw them all swarming. You knew the Rangers were coming with dozens of armed people. So you don't know whether or not they all got wiped out in the church and they broke in, or if they all like barreled down into the basement again and just like barricaded as best they could. You don't know if it was a massacre. You don't know if the Rangers showed. You don't know anything, and I love that, because it just left it open, not for another sequel, but it left it open for you to consider, like, yeah, what just happened?
Well, according to Steve, they all died.
Everybody's dead. It's over. They're all gone.
Oh, okay.
And I think that that's a pretty good assumption, but it's how much. Okay, but let's put ourselves in that aspect for a second, though. Like we saw, and if anybody watched this movie, they saw the battle happen in the church, and imagine like killing this thing and then being like, oh, I mean, after all that trouble, after going through all of that, and then you're like, oh wow, there's like 200, 300, whatever more. I mean, God, that has just gotta be the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, for them to have expended everything they did just to barely make it out alive after killing one. And that speaks to another thing that, once again, to me, it's lazy writing, but I understand why they do it, because the movie doesn't work without it. This thing can kill instantly. I mean, especially at the end of the movie, when you see how big and strong it is, and I mean, the thing could just, one swipe and cut your throat.
Probably. So you admit that you did see it?
I did at the end, yes, okay. the very end, the last 1/3 of a second before they cut the film, but it's almost like Kevin Durant's character could have been killed 25 times over in this movie. But so what is this thing? Playing with him, toying with him, and why? If he is,
no, he found the dead deer in the road, stopped, and he saw the shadow, and then when he got in the truck, the deer was gone. So it was weird, because it looked like the entire herd was toying with Kevin for whatever reason, and they kept not Steve. I agree with him. Like, there's so many times that it should have took him out too, but for some reason it never did. It only toyed with him.
And
but I mean, come on, guys. If that's like every movie. What did I just watch the other day? I just watched some. I watched one of them little shorts. The shorts on YouTube. We have a bunch on our channel. But I was watching one of those shorts, and it said, if movies were real. Did I send that to you, Steve? Is if movies were real, and the guy literally gives his son a Chucky doll or a present. The kid opens it up, it's a Chucky doll, and the Chucky doll goes, "I'll be your friend till the end." And the father looks at the doll and he's like, "Nope." And then it shows him chucking it off a bridge, and then the credits roll. And I mean, the thing is, though, is that if movies were realistic, this movie would have been 6 minutes long.
Right.
And that's the thing is with movies as well as stories. I mean, it's like if you you can almost get to the punchline of anything super quick. I mean, The Descent is a great example. I mean, like the girls in that cave, that's a fantastic movie. But if those things just attacked the shit out of them the second they went in that cave, it would have been a 20-minute movie and would have sucked.
Well, go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
The only issue I have with that, Jake, is the fact that they were trying to pass off this thing as hunting these people and a new food source, because they got pushed 90 miles south and this and that. But why would it toy with the sheriff? Like that one scene with the deer, like he should have been taken out. Like they were hunting and there was more than one, but because the director was trying to keep this perception there's only one, another one didn't velociraptor him and take him from the side. Like it just let him go back in his truck and then took the deer. Like that was the only problem. One of the continuity issues was the fact that these things were supposed to be hunting for prey, but for some reason this one sheriff they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to mess with him.
Okay, well let me propose this because I want to help the writer out a little bit. So let me propose this. Let's say you guys have been around a lot of animals, a lot of creatures in your life. You've come across things, right? I mean, I can assume that, right? Spiders, snakes, whatnot. And the thing is that 99% of the time, those animals or insects, as they will, spiders, snakes, whatever we use here, hell, possums, whatever. I mean, they are essentially more afraid of you than you are of them, and that's a true thing. Now, these creatures, we don't really know the history of them, and it is a little weird that if there's that many, they haven't like literally wiped out entire towns that we would know about, you know, or that they would know about in the movie. That part is a little iffy, but let's just say that for whatever reason, this is the first time that they've come out, or the first time that we're seeing this, or nobody's ever put it together. The thing is that maybe they are weary of humans. I mean, you know, it's that perception. Maybe, you know, maybe humans are a threat to them. Maybe, you know, because it did show them going through it showed the footprints of them going through the town and looking through all the windows. Why were they watching everybody? Why were they trying to figure out what everybody was doing? Why were they trying to look in everybody's windows and spying people? Why did they take a horse when nobody was looking? And all of these other things that happened in the movie. And I mean, I think that maybe it was a fact of they were trying to figure out exactly how to go about this. Maybe, I mean, maybe, you know, I could see that being a plausible explanation. I mean, all I'm saying is that I could see these creatures, maybe these 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, were going through the town and kind of checking it all out. You know, they were
like reconnaissance.
Yeah, maybe they were reconnaissance. That's what I'm looking for. That's a great word. So maybe they were checking everything out, and then they were kind of like, all right, I think we're good. We can take care of this. And then that's when the swarm happened, you know? I mean, is that not possible?
There's one scene that kind of shoots that entire thing to hell.
Well, shoot it down.
That one scene where the three hunters are out, and it takes down 2 hunters, and one of them shoots directly at one, and you see the scene where you don't see the monster, but you see the camera come at the hunter and take him down, and the other guy comes running out saying, you need to help me, because he was being a douche to the sheriff in the first place, but it took down and put those 2 hunters up in the tree. So if it was weary of man, these guys had guns, like it's avoiding everybody who's unarmed and not pointing anything, but the moment it sees 2 guns pointed at it, they're attacking. So, I mean,
that really doesn't blow my theory to hell, because the other thing is, though, is that even these animals I'm telling you about that are weary of people, what's the one way to get them to attack you is to go into their space.
Well, let me interject. Opening credits, or opening scene for that matter, we can only assume maybe 5 to 10 loggers out there on machines, and then they cut back to the guy on the walkie and then go back again, and all the machines are just kind of turning off on themselves, or, you know, nobody's there anymore. So they cleared out those people. It's not like, and that's another thing too. Have these creatures been dormant for 500 years? Or, you know, this would have happened well before now. But the fact that it happened at this moment, they already cleared out a bunch of humans, a bunch of people, and 90 miles north or whatever they said, and then ended up moving at high speed to get to where they were to find more people. So it's not like they're meeting that group of people for the first time. They've virtually already dealt with and handled a whole other town potentially prior to that. So, but I do understand, and I do think you're right, Jake. I think that's probably the idea behind the director's thought process, was to try to also sauce it up a little bit too. Try to give it a little bit more of a sinister type of approach, that these things are, yes, they're hunting them, or potentially will be, whether they be singular or a group of them. But the fact that they're looking in the window makes it a little bit more scary, I guess, is the easiest way to go about it. So
fair enough. But I mean, then I pull up another scene with the fact that they were, when the sheriff calls a town that's in between the 90-mile mark, and that town basically got a few animals missing, but didn't exactly get hit. Like, they completely skipped that town and then hits this town. I'm like, you know what? Okay, this is the edge of the woods. We're gonna wipe them out.
I mean, the real, and I mean, I don't really know if the director was really going for such a statement, but I mean, the big environmental statement in all of this is what deforestation does to, you know, our wildlife. And I mean, you know, it's really interesting when they're clearing out the trees and they're clearing out space to make more shopping malls or fields or whatever it is, how, that really does affect us. And we see that in real life. I mean, we see a lot of animals becoming endangered. We see a lot of animals. I know, for example, that there have been even here where I am, I know that they've been saying that there's been a lot more bear sightings than usual. But
Yes.
they've also been rapidly developing the area around where I live. If you do that, how can you not expect to see more of these animals or see these animals deplete? Because you're taking away everywhere that they have to live and be, and everywhere that they've been for hundreds of years.
Oh, I agree with you.
So what happened here? I mean, it's kind of almost hard to explain. The deforestation was, maybe there was some kind of reason that they had to move, south faster or that direction faster. I mean, it's just hard to say, because I mean, these things do really happen, and I mean, as far as what Steve and I were saying, and sorry to cut you off, but as far as Steve and I were saying, though, the one interesting thing though is that these things are obviously killers. They're obviously killing machines. Now, have they been feeding on animals this whole time and we just haven't seen them? They've been kind of elusive like the Bigfoot, and they've been just feeding on deer and things like that, because all the animals disappeared, which when I watched it, I assumed when an evil presence comes in a lot of horror movies, it's depicted that the animals kind of disappear. The birds fly away or whatever the case may be. And that's what I thought happened. But maybe what happened is they fed on all of the wildlife in that area. And maybe that's what they've been doing for a long time. And now with the deforestation, there isn't as much wildlife to feed on. I mean, that's just another theory.
Well, I mean, it's a good theory. I mean, but you got to keep two things before you go in, because there's a difference between logging and residential invasion. Like, I know a logging company from my childhood. When they tore down a section, they replanted. That was one of the biggest things with a lot of logging companies, is when they take down a section of forest, though it's not a full forest, they do replant in its place. Where instead you have places that aren't logging companies necessarily, but they come in and invade animal territories, and that's when you get the bears coming into backyards. Like, we had a bear here at this house that was in the garage foraging and scared one of our Amazon delivery guys. He's walking up, and here comes a bear out of our garage, because there's a lot of development in the area.
Well, I want to touch on you bringing up Bigfoot too, because I was thinking that as you were talking about it. If we want to, let's use Bigfoot as a proxy for these creatures. Okay. Makes sense if there's a family of 3 to 5. Okay. Not a family of 3 to 500. There's just no friggin' way. So when the final scene, for them to do that, to me, that's lazy. That's lazy writing, because you're trying to shock and awe with, and here comes the Titanic cut back out of the water too. I mean, like, they're just trying to show that this swarm, a group of killing creatures like that, have not been hiding in the woods. I don't care what woods, in the Amazon for that matter, and not be seen prior to this, and not have completely wiped out all of the other animals or the food sources. I mean, they would have just run like locusts through that area. So I don't think it holds water. But
in their defense, though, they are very sneaky.
I'm trying to find an image right now. To be honest with you, Steve, I don't think there were 300 to 400. Like, when that final scene happened, I think there was less than a dozen. I think there was like 7 or 8.
Was there 7 or 8? Because I feel like when I watched it, it was a lot.
It looked like a lot to me, but it cut off like instantly, because I saw it on, what was it, Tubi? And it was a split second, and boom, right to black screen. So I don't even know if I got to see the whole thing clearly.
I'm trying to pull up a picture of it, see if I can get a count, because I don't think it was that many. Like, we keep interjecting, saying that it's, hundreds and hundreds of them, when I don't recall it being that many. All right, I've got the IMDb, and I'm trying to flip through the photos. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's only 4,
if there's
5.
7,
yeah,
then you shut your damn mouth.
There's about 6 or 7. Yeah, there's
Are you kidding me?
2 or 3 on top of the thing here. 1 climbing up the steeple there. 1 on the flat roof there. 1 standing there, and then you got the one that jumps at the screen. And I think 1 more in front of the door here. So yeah, it looks like there's only at most 7 or 8, at most.
That's crazy.
Yep, that's it.
That doesn't even make any sense. Now, is that like the whole all of them in the scene though? Because
Yeah,
I feel
that's the
like
scene right there. That's the picture
that's-
from the scene.
That's just that's not what I remember. I remember seeing
Well-
a boatload of them.
Well, that's see, that's where your memory fills things in. See, that's a picture from the scene.
that's crazy.
You're gonna have to put this picture up on with this podcast so everyone else can do their own count. Put a viewer survey up.
Well, the photo is so dark too; you can barely even tell that there's a damn church there.
Yeah,
But once again, that's part of the trick of making a movie that can't reveal much because of the clarity. The creature itself is not that detailed. It's not like the Predator or the Alien, like Jake said. So you've got to kind of dumb it down, darken the room, if you will, and change the lighting in your filming. But
oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're kind of splitting hairs with some of this stuff. I mean, how many movies have I seen where there's holes in the plot and stuff doesn't make sense, and it doesn't really have to. I mean, it's entertainment, and I thought it was an entertaining movie. They did a decent job. The actors did a good job, and it was what it was. It wasn't. Now, if they put $200 million into this movie to make it, I'd say garbage, dumpster fire. But if it's a low budget, film like this, yeah, that's about what you get, and they did good.
They made hundreds of millions of dollars, dude.
I honestly think this could be one of those cult classics that ends up, eventually getting its time and actually getting a following. Because honestly, I agree with you, Steve. I think overall, entertaining wise, it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. Like when I was talking to Jake on the phone, I brought up the fact that I had just finished the movie, and I actually like the ending, like the entire movie overall. I'm like, this is a pretty good movie. I'm glad I took a chance on it.
Well, I know both of you pretty well, and I think that you probably are rating it about a point or higher than Steve. But because I can tell where Steve lands on stuff, and I would say you're probably, and I'm probably even point something maybe even higher than you, because I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I liked it a lot. I don't see a whole lot wrong with it. I mean, I really don't. I mean, besides the fact that there's a couple of questions about possible plot holes and stuff. I mean, I get that, but overall, I mean, I think it was a great movie. I think it was creative. I think it gave me everything I wanted. It was suspenseful.
Absolutely.
It kept me interested.
I mean,
absolutely. I mean, but what big budget movie don't you see plot holes in either? You get plot holes in anything and everything, books, and even major Hollywood big budget movies. They happen.
Yes, Steve.
I know, and I hate it. If you go about it as a critic versus just an average spectator who's there to enjoy themselves, I mean, if you're sitting down and you're writing, you work for Rotten Tomatoes, and your job is to critique the hell out of it, there's plenty of fodder there to critique. But if you're watching it for the sake of, hey, grab some popcorn, let's turn the lights out and have an enjoyable night, it's a good film, and right. it delivers what I don't think they were trying to mislead you in any way. You got exactly what they were given.
Yep.
And I thought they did a good job doing it.
And throw that out there, Steve. It got 55% around Tomatoes, and the average critic gave it about a 6.
Makes sense.
Yep.
See, and that's the thing too, is that we do this show and we talk about these things, and part of the reason we designed this show, or part of the reason I put this show together, is because I wanted to be able to talk about horror movies, and I wanted to be able to keep discussions going about horror movies. And I know that a lot of the other channels, they really deep dive into movies and they really pick them apart. And part of the reason that I don't necessarily try to do that is because I really like the magic of a movie. And I don't I'm not doing this show to ruin movies for me. I'm doing this show because I like talking about the movies, and I think that there's interesting things to discuss, and it's fun to do that, like Steve said, though. I mean, because like when I watch these movies and I'm like, hey, let's do a show on that. When I'm watching the movie, I'm just sitting there as a fan, just, hey, check out this movie. And then we get on the show and we talk about it. And it's a lot of fun, and it's fun to kind of pick it apart on the show. But I don't really do that while I'm watching the movies, because I want to just enjoy the movie. I mean, to me, movies are an experience, and I mean, I want to
absolutely.
Another thing too that's really funny is that you replace Kevin Durand with anybody. Take an A-list actor, I don't think they do as good a job as he did in
No.
that role. He was like a perfect fit for it. So
I agree with you.
So, I mean, you didn't have to have a big name. You didn't have to have a big budget for this. I think it stayed in its lane and it did a decent job.
I think the fact he accepted that script and he did that, I think it showed his range. I think it showed that he is more than what everyone keeps casting him for. And I think that was the perfect thing for him to do. And I agree with you. I don't think anyone else on a higher list could have done anything where he did as far as the range he put into that movie, because it almost looked like it was personal. Like that entire character was part of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good actor, and I'll give you that. I mean, it's always funny when you think about that, and that's like the hardest thing. And I think we've kind of talked about that on the show before. It's like Eric Stoltz was originally cast to be Marty McFly in Back to the Future. And like, that's ridiculous to think about. If you've seen Back to the Future, you're like, nobody could do that besides Michael J. Fox. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Eric Stoltz. And that's the thing, is that with all these movies, it's the movies that we haven't seen with these casting choices that it's like, it's so hard to tell what would have happened. Would it have been a hit? Would we have liked it? I mean, it's easy to be like, no, we wouldn't have. But I mean, you don't really know. I mean, you'd almost have to see both of them to know. And it's like, that always just really interests me when I think about it. I sit back and I really think about, like, what would this movie have been like had they cast him? Because I mean, it's happened on so many movies. I mean, almost every movie, there's like a choice that they have a choice and then somebody else gets it. And you're like, how the hell did that choice even make sense? That's a whole nother discussion anyway. And we've gotten way off topic, but I mean, who knows what would have happened if Dark Was the Night starred Nicolas Cage, you know? I mean,
I don't think it would. I honestly, Nick Cage is not. He's a good actor, but he doesn't have that emotional range.
Have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you pissed blood?
Like that? Not really. I don't think he does.
Oh, he does. It's just corny as shit. All right. Well, no reason to keep beating a dead horse. You know, because they took horses in the movie. Anyway. It's been nice if you've been with us this whole time. This was us kind of talking about Dark Was the Night. And thank you for watching. We'll be back again soon. Do that, subscribe, like shit.
You really think there's a monster in the woods, Donnie?
No.
Okay.
A figure crawling in the night. Liza's eyes adjust in the pale moonlight. Jake's camera is rolling steady in the cold. Psycho Pinion is hunting for a story to be told.
Hey, welcome. What the fuck, Steve? What the fuck, man? You do it every fucking time. Jesus Christ. What?
Through the fog we run, baying hounds of hell, chasing whispers where the spirits dwell. Ghosts and ghouls and the bone-chilling screams. Psycho Opinions here to capture the haunted scene.